And again, like the puzzles seem difficult, and then there are a few tricks to it, but it is in fact quite easy, as opposed to, say, I mean, Call of Cthulhu is still pretty fresh in my mind. I mean, the puzzles where there's only one solution, like the weed killer on the plants, and then the bad thing about that one was if you didn't stand right in front of the weeds and use the weed killer, like, it wouldn't even trigger. And like, okay, I shouldn't talk about other games because you're not actually playing them, but in that case, there was only one way to solve that puzzle, and it was a very specific way. Like, if you do it, you could do it in a different, like, you could stand in a different place, and in your mind, as the player, you would think it works. Like, you're in front of the plant, you use the weed killer, you think the guy would just use the weed killer on the plant, but you're standing on the wrong side. Like, you're standing to the right instead of to the left, and it doesn't trigger, and so it doesn't work. And you think, okay, so you're not supposed to use the weed killer on the plant, and then you go look for other things. In that case, like, there's only one way to solve the puzzle, and it's a very specific way, and it's a way that you kind of know what to do. It's kind of easy, but the game makes it difficult because it's so finicky, like, it's so precise. Whereas here, it's not as, well, obviously it's not as precise. Like, you can put portals.
All subjects intending to handle high-energy gamma-leaking portal technology must be informed that they may be informed of applicable regulatory compliance issues. No further compliance information is required or will be provided, and you are an excellent test subject.
There was a lot of that. I don't know if you picked up all the tone of her voice. What does she say? Test subjects should be informed that they may be informed of regulatory compliance, and then she says no further information will be informed. So it's like you get the idea that she's trying to trick you, or she's withholding information from you and all that, which is kind of funny. A new room. What was I talking about before? About things. Here, like, the puzzles, they're not precise. I mean, there are certain things that you can do, and there are certain things, I guess, that you have to do, but if you do it in a different sequence, or if you do it in a slightly different way, or if you stand on the button instead of putting a cube on the button, it still works. So, you can solve the problem easier here. And again, we go back to the playability, whether it's fun or not. Like, there's nothing fun about trying something and the game telling you it doesn't work, but in fact it does work. You're just standing in a slightly wrong place. There's nothing fun about that. Whereas here, like, solving puzzles is fun, getting the answer is fun, success is fun. And Portal, we can see how they're actually making it easy for you to succeed. They're telling you what to do a lot of the times, and they're making it so that if you fudge it a little bit, you can still succeed, and then things like that. Anyway, let's look at the puzzle at hand. 14 out of 19, so we're only 5 away from the end, supposedly. See, we got cubes, we got fling, we got the pellets, we got water, so we got everything, pretty much. Everything we've seen up to now, it's going to be combined in this level. It's left and right. We can go that way. In fact, okay, we can't actually put a portal on the floor there. That's interesting. There's a quick way to get past this, by the way, but I'm not going to do it. So we came this way and the stairs came up. You can hear the sound, and then you turn around and you can hear, we can see the stairs retract. That's interesting. So the pellet switch is right here, so you can't miss it, right? You walk right up into it. The cube is there, and you need to get to the cube. There's actually several ways to do this again. With the multiple ways to solve the problem. You can fling yourself, as was introduced. You're flinging down the pit and out of a vertical surface. Let's see if this works. Ah, it does, right? But there's also another way. You can put a portal there and fling yourself... Oops, missed. Just need to figure out which way I come out. So you can fling yourself this way. Is there any other way to do it? There probably is, but I'm not going to play around too much. So again, multiple ways to solve the same problem. Wait a minute. Oh, I can see. So once we pick that up, the stairs retract. Oh, extend. The stairs extend upwards. And you can't actually go down the pit anymore. That's interesting. So let's keep this in mind. Once you've picked up the cube, you can't fling yourself anymore. And I think this is relevant to the next part of the game because you might otherwise be tempted to fling your way past the stuff here. Like this, you might be tempted to just fling yourself across the room. Oh, this! I remember now, I'm doing this wrong actually. Actually, no, I think I can do this anyway. So the high energy pellet, you can see it there. Let's... Well... Oh crap. Oops. Alright, so I died. Let's see where the autosave is. Ah, the autosave is right before you put the cube down. That's interesting. Oh, actually this is quite good. Because if you were... Did I break that button? I just... The game just glitched out, I think. The door is stuck open. Not that it matters. That's interesting. That's a glitch in the game. It's not supposed to do that, of course. Once you lift the cube, you're supposed to close the door anyway. So we need to get the energy pellet onto that thing there. There's actually multiple ways to do this. Once again, I think the easiest way is just to put a portal there and then walk in, jump across the platforms, and then put the other portal where the pellet is. I mean, you can come in here, put the portal down here, and then jump back. Or I think you can just... Anyway, I'm not going to explore all the different ways to do this because that's going to take forever anyway.
Very good. A complimentary victory lift has been activated in the main chamber.
A victory lift. That's cool. Again, once you solve the puzzle, then GLaDOS talks to you, and it's usually something a little bit funny as a reward for solving the puzzle. I mean, there's multiple ways to get the energy pellet into the switch. That's one way. I mean, I guess mostly it's the same, it's just the sequence in which you put down the portals and all that. Anyway. So, actually, let's see, we had the flinging, we had the cube, energy pellets, we have a bit of water, and I actually jumped in and died like a noob. Alright, so, you know, they're combining... Oh, wait, look at that. There's the radio. So they're combining all of the previously introduced game elements into the same puzzle, and it's fairly simple. You can see how they're basically separate. Like the flinging was only there, the water was only there. I guess the only really slightly more complicated thing was where to put the portals, because you have to basically walk all the way here, put the portal there, and then walk around into the other place and put the other portal there to get the pellet to come down. So that's, you're doing something that's out of sight, and it's a long way away, and you're using the portals to bridge that distance quite easily. So I think this is one of the first times where it introduces you to a place where you have to, you know, put portals in really distant places, and to remember where the portals are and then where you need the things to go and all that. There's going to be more of that later on in the game, as the levels get more complex. You know, but again, they're starting off with the easy things and just slowly making things more complicated as you play through. Like every time we go into an elevator, there's a loading screen, and every time after the loading screen I restart the recording just to make sure that the audio doesn't lag.
The Enrichment Center is committed to the well-being of all participants. Cake and grief counseling will be available at the conclusion of the test. Thank you for helping us help you help us all.
Cake and grief counseling, that's nice. Anyway, so it's really subtle humor. I still chuckle a little bit at it, and it's really well done, I think. Anyway, as I was saying, every time we come through the lift I have to restart the recording to make sure there's no audio lag. But I always find myself talking as I'm going into it, so every time I interrupt myself and then have to carry on the thought. Let's see, there's no cubes this time, but we're still flinging, we still have energy pellets, and we still have water. So yeah, the rooms are actually getting more and more complicated, even though we're at 15 out of 19. Like each of these later rooms are like several of the first ones, in the sense that they're a bit longer. Actually, let's just make sure we check the clues. Alright, so we still have the fling going on. Actually, can you see that? Yeah, you can. So you see how there's a checkerboard pattern there, whereas in this there's the lighter tiles, and all the rest of these are darker tiles. So again, they're giving you clues as to where to put the portal. And there, of course, that thing sticks out, so you put the portal there. Again, they're telling you what to do, but in really subtle ways. I don't know. Would you see that? I think you would. You can see the change in the floor pattern there, and if you do that and just walk in, then basically the puzzle solves itself. Like, you don't really have to do very much thinking for yourself, and exit is that way, of course. And the particle fields, I think we figured out by now that you can't actually maintain portals when you go through it. Anyway, if you don't know that by now, you'll see it here. Like if you try to do that and then walk in here and do that, you'll find that the other one's actually gone. So here, the puzzle with the particle fields, I think this is the first major puzzle with the particle fields, where you have to figure out where to put the portals in order to get the pellet to go where you want. Anyway, we can just do that. And oh, whoops, sorry. And then that will get the pellet into the switch, and GLaDOS doesn't say anything. That's interesting. Anyway, the symbol there, you can see the same pellet symbols get the pellet into the switch. Was this complicated? No, I guess it wasn't. Like as you walk in here, you could see... Let's see, you walked in here. And as you do, you can see the pellet bouncing back and forth. And you see the particle fields, you can see the switch. So everything again is laid out for you. And the particle is up here as well, so you can't really die. Like you can't get yourself killed until you start putting down portals. So it's fairly safe, it's fairly obvious what the puzzle is. And that's important, like all the pieces of the puzzle are laid out before you. You don't have to find anything. But the trick is then how to get the pallet into the switch, right? And that's not too complicated, but it requires, you know, a little bit of thinking. You know, there's like multiple steps to it. That step 1 is to do that, and then step 2 is to do that.